Hello and welcome back to another Monster Monday, a series where I draw a creature from D&D and I talk about its lore and its history and what it's like to fight in game. Today's monster has been suggested by Bendik Ardal. Bendik Ardal? Either way, Bendik, whether or not that is your real name, you sound like you'd fit perfectly in a fantasy world. Maybe you are from a fantasy world. Maybe you requested this because you were fighting a Nothic a few months ago when you requested it and you needed tips on how to beat it. In which case, I'm sorry if this comes too late, but hopefully, if your mage tower is overrun with Nothics, this will still be useful to you. Now, I absolutely adore Nothics. I realise that when I make these videos, almost every single monster is my favourite, but I can't help but get excited about these guys. As far as I can tell, and please correct me if you know better, or if you have more information, Nothics joined the Worlds of D&D through 3rd edition's miniature handbook, released in 2003. So they're one of the most recent monsters that I've ever covered. This book was a move by Wizards of the Coast to complement the popularity of miniature models in role-playing, and to encourage those who maybe hadn't thought about using them before to give it a try. The book had a variety of rules to encourage more casual, single adventure, kind of throwaway games, dungeon crawls, and potentially rules for skirmish games and tabletop war games, more like Warhammer or Infinity. But what is a Nothic? You could very easily be forgiven for not knowing because it's tragically an underutilized monster in my experience. Nothics are medium-sized aberrations that were once wizards, scholars, or sorcerers, cursed by their own insatiable hunger for knowledge. Now they roam the dark and forbidden places of the earth, searching for arcane secrets and treasures that might undo their grotesque transformation. No longer resembling their original species, Nothics are twisted beasts with clawed toes and fingers, spined and scaled skin, hunched backs, and one enormous glimmering eye that rests above a perpetually smiling, lipless grin of jagged and distorted teeth. In this hideous state, Nothics retain none of the magical skill that they once possessed, and only a fleeting glimpse here and there of their memories of their past life. Just enough to drive them utterly mad, to remind them that they were once brilliant in their field of study. Perhaps they had friends and family. Maybe they drove these people away in their quest for knowledge. If so, they now live a perpetual sorry state of false hope, always on the brink of returning to their former life, that they visit each night in their dreams only to forget again in the morning. This transformative curse that stripped these once civil creatures of their humanity and decency has left them with an evil alignment and cruel intentions, however they acted in their previous life. And this curse of savagery is said to be left behind by the mighty lich Vecna, who many of you will probably have heard of. For those of you who have been lucky enough to escape the baleful magics of this ancient lich, and don't know much about them, I won't go into too much detail because Vecna will almost certainly come up in a lore video of his own. But the TLDR in D&D lore is that he was, or perhaps is, a lich. It varies from setting to setting. An undead wizard of such immense power that in some D&D worlds he even became a necromantic god of magic and knowledge. Now, why Vecna would leave these curses behind to transform inquisitive scholars is utterly unclear. He is known to be an incalculably cruel being, so it could simply be because he enjoys other people's suffering. Perhaps his ego is such he just wished to dominate the lives of other wizards, or perhaps to prevent someone from learning the arcane secrets that gave Vecna his incredible power, and thus to maintain his position as the most potent wizard in the D&D multiverse. For whatever cryptic and arcane reason, his curse transforms those that delve too deep into the cavernous study of magic and warps them into shadows of their former selves. Although Nothics can no longer cast their spells, they are still massively intelligent compared to most monsters, and are still potentially vast repositories of arcane secrets. They have 13 intelligence and 10 wisdom, which is a far cry from what they almost certainly had beforehand, but still places them high above other creatures that skulk in the darkness. And they boast some pretty insane skills like a +3 to Arcana checks and +4 to Insight. They have a +2 in Perception, and although twisted and grotesque, their new bodies are far more agile than they once were, granting them a +5 in Stealth. even more importantly, they can still talk. Although mechanically they can only speak Undercommon, I like to imagine them speaking eerily with their old voice of whatever species they were before they were transformed. It's something that would send shivers down your spine, hearing a cordial but sinister voice force its way out of the gullet of a jagged maw of spines and teeth. No lips to pronounce half of the words that it's managing to generate, but still, with its ever-watchful eye staring at you, it can make perfectly polite conversation. Further to that nightmarish thought, a Nothic's enormous singular eye, which I would imagine is the container or a focus for all of the creature's former magical energy that it had accrued, grants the Nothic various powers, including advantage on perception checks that use sight, 120-foot true sight permanently, so it will easily see into the ethereal plane, see any undead, any ghosts, invisible creatures, or any illusions that you hope to cast against it, and it has access to a rotting gaze attack that allows the Nothic to focus all of its hatred and resentment towards you and your party in your untransformed state, unpunished by Vecna for your inquisitiveness, as it fires a ray of necrotic energy at a creature within 30 feet of it. If this creature is unfortunate enough to fail a Constitution saving throw, the creature takes 3d6 necrotic damage. Finally, in my opinion, the coolest ability by far in the Nothic's arsenal is its Weird Insight power. With Weird Insight, the Nothic targets one creature it can see within 30 feet. The target needs to make a Charisma Deception check against the Nothic's Wisdom Insight check. If the Nothic wins, it magically learns one fact or secret, importantly, about the target. The target automatically wins if it's immune to being charmed. And this escalates a Nothic from being a cool creature with interesting lore behind it into one of the most important tools in a DM's arsenal, I think, in the entire monster manual. Because it's perfect for drawing out of your players their secret and hidden backstories. Maybe one of your players has come up with a really, really cool backstory, but they can't find a way to bring it out into the limelight, to let everybody know their deep, dark secrets, and to let roleplay unfold as a result of that. But the Nothic knows, it sees it, and is happy to use that against you. Perhaps it simply peers into the barbarian's mind and uses its insecurities to bring it to its knees in a tear-stained, crumpled heap on the ground, bringing the barbarian out of its rage and completely incapable of fighting. Or perhaps inducing such a rage in the otherwise calm monk as to disconnect them from their peace of mind and their ability to use their ki. And how creepy it is to hear all of that from an eerily familiar-sounding human voice in this otherwise alien aberration. Do be careful how you swing that sword. The life of a soldier was not your first choice, was it? No, but you lacked the aptitude to be a proper wizard, didn't you? And you just had to do Daddy proud. After you let him die, I can see the flames coiling around that house of yours. And so many excuses in your head. You were too young to take up arms against those attackers. Is that what you tell yourself at night, to grant you peace? Too young to even try and defend him. So which are you? The mediocre wizard, or the mourning, pathetic soldier who lacks the conviction to even strike me with that thing? All in all, for a challenge rating 2 creature, they could be one of the most useful plot devices for DMs. Not just for rooting out interesting player backstories, but also for creating conflict among the group. The Nothic may have not the greatest stats in the world, but if it can make the party fight against each other, then it doesn't need to be strong. This creature is essentially a mastermind while still only needing to have 13 intelligence. If your rogue pocketed a magic item from another member of the group, a greedy halfling stole something from your local paladin's temple, if one character's tragic backstory is in some way connected to somebody else's folly, the Nothic will definitely bring that up and cause turmoil among the group. As well, they make fantastic quest givers, as Nothics are constantly hungry for magical secrets and items in hope that they will be able to change themselves back into the wizards, sorcerers, scholars, whatever that they were beforehand. They could even be great allies if you're willing to side with something with utterly selfish motives, as their true-seeing eye can peer through all sorts of illusions. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. If you did, please make sure to leave it a little thumbs up, a little like, maybe favorite this video, and share it with your party or your DM if you're interested in seeing one of these creatures in your game. If you really like this video and you'd like to see more, please make sure to subscribe and click the little bell icon, because everything that you can do like that really helps us to grow. With your help, we are already getting loads more views, and I've hit 7,500 subscribers as of this morning. Well, the morning that I write this anyway. So your help really does make a massive impact. So thank you very much. If you love this drawing in particular and you'd like a copy for yourself, please make sure to head over to my Patreon page, where you can help me even more by financially backing the channel, and at various different reward levels you will receive every drawing that I do in a Monster Monday of a month, either digitally or physically. And if you have a monster that you'd like to see me draw, please make sure to leave that in the comment section below, and I'll add it to my to-draw list. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to be careful where your inquisitive nature and studies of magic take you, as you might get transformed into one of these hideous creatures. And until next time, happy monster hunting. I mentioned in my last video that we're approaching the anniversary of my channel. I will have been doing this for one whole year on September 1st. The closest video day, the closest Friday to that, will be September the 7th. And on that day, I'll be hosting a giveaway of a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. If you'd like a copy of this book, all you need to do is email me a copy of a drawing that you've done of a D&D monster or maybe a homebrew creature in the spirit of Monster Mondays. I'll be featuring your artwork on the channel, and the winner will get a copy of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So keep an eye out for that. My email is in the description box below, but in case you don't see that, it's info.arcaneforge@gmail.com. I'll also be doing some question and answer stuff, so if you have a question for me, make sure to leave it in the comments below, with the brackets video question around it, so I know that you want me to answer it there rather than in the comments below.